Discipline is the bridge between dreams and success. It's also the bridge between what you want and what you don't want. What happens when that bridge collapses? Stick around as we unpack how the lack of discipline has led to the downfall of some of the world's biggest names and learn how you can avoid their mistakes, especially when it comes to your finances. I also have a case study for you to consider at the end of how two of our guys used discipline so they become first-generation cash flow millionaires. Proverbs 21, verse 20 says it best. The wise store up choice food and olive oil, but the fools gulp theirs down. So let's dive into the power of discipline in this episode, starting in 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
Let's get this money. Euros, dollar bills, getting this on out. Let's get this money. 1 year, better know I'm on it.
Discipline isn't just about avoiding sin. Discipline is about success in your finances, in your faith, in your fitness, and even in your fun. If you don't choose to have discipline in your life will discipline you. Consider this data. High credit card debt. Americans owe over $1 trillion in credit card debt, indicating widespread reliance on credit for day-to-day expenses. Living paycheck to paycheck. Over 66% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck, reflecting limited savings and financial buffers. And six-figure income earners aren't isolated from living paycheck to paycheck either. Consider this. 49% of individuals earning over $100,000 annually report living paycheck to paycheck as of April 2023, marking a 7% increase from the previous year. 51% of six-figure income earners were living paycheck to paycheck in December 2022, up from 42% in December 2021. Well, 36% of those earning $200,000 annually reported living paycheck to paycheck in 2024. So just because you make more money doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be less financially stressed. You know what's keeping people paycheck to paycheck? That thing we've been talking about, lack of discipline. Well, how does the lack of discipline translate into savings? Consider this. America has a savings problem for retirement. Approximately 50% of women and 47% of men aged 55 to 66 have no retirement savings, leaving them financially unprepared for retirement. Because basically the median retirement account balance for individuals from 55 to 64 is only $88,000, which may be insufficient to sustain a comfortable retirement over several decades, according to AP News. Of course it is. How fast does $88,000 go when you're 55, 65, 75, 85? And next thing you know, you watch people having to unretire and go back to work. You think I'm kidding? Go to your local Walmart, go to your Costco, go to a grocery store, see who the baggers are, see who the greeters are. You think people there are working because they want to volunteer their time? No, they're working there because they have to work. I remember seeing a Domino's Pizza commercial where a Domino's Pizza driver was delivering these pizzas stacked up to the top. You can't even see her face. She attempts to go up on the porch and she misses a step on the porch and she dumps the Domino's Pizza all over the person's porch. And people are like, oh, so sorry, you okay? You okay? And they find out it's a 60-year-old retiree delivering pizza to the house, and she missed a step. She took a dump, and they're wondering, why are you working? She's not working pizza delivery job because she wants to. It's because she's got nothing saved for retirement due to a lack of financial discipline in America. And think about it, how easy it is to spend money in America today. We're shooting this right now in the holiday season. How many people are spending more money during the holiday season, more money than they ever have in the first 11 months? In fact, retailers will tell you they make up their profit in the month of November, December. At the 11th, 12th month of the year, that's when they get back into a profit zone. In other words, for the first 10 months of the year, they're operating in the red. American consumers save retailers because America loves to shop, especially during the holidays. So I'm curious at this point, what do you think is the reason why people's lack of financial discipline is so rampant across America and let alone the world? Is it number one? Is it because it's easy to buy things? Or number two, people have no plan? Or three, put your thoughts in the comment section below. I want to know, what do you think is the reason why people lack so much financial discipline? They lack it. Well, Matt, what about entrepreneurship? I think instead of having a job, I'm going to be an entrepreneur instead. Well, that's the move I made coming out the military. That's the move I made. 3 jobs, odd jobs as a single father of 3 kids to get involved in building an insurance business. People say, the solution to be disciplined is business. Well, let's take a look. The first year failure rate of any business in America, approximately 20.4% of new business will fail in the first year. 5-year failure rate, approximately 49.4% of businesses fail within the first 5 years. By the 10th year, around 65.3% of businesses will be closed. Is it the fact that business is bad? Is it the fact that entrepreneurship and free enterprise and capitalism is bad? Now, these statistics underscore the importance of strategic planning, market research, financial management, adaptability, and leadership development. And let's not forget discipline, because if you don't have any discipline as an employee, what makes you think you're going to be even more disciplined working for yourself? In fact, the worst boss to work for yourself when you're initially starting off entrepreneurship, getting in business for yourself, the worst boss to work for is yourself. Why? You and I, we let each of ourselves off the hook too soon. And some of the best of the best need coaches. I mean, look at all the athletes out there that have not just a primary head coach, but they have position coach, they have training coach, swing coach, shooting coach, you name it. A lot of professionals have other coaches to keep them what? Disciplined. And the situation of being disciplined is to see yourself the way you really are, not the way you think you are. Again, not to see yourself the way you think you are, but to see yourself the way you actually are. That's a big form of discipline, because we all have this internal picture of who we think you are, but the mirror tells us the truth. A coach tells us the truth. Our bank account tells us the truth. I mean, even I see it in my business. We've got thousands of people in our industry, in our company, across my major offices across the nation. They have access to the same playbook. They have access to the same opportunities to gain mentorship, the same opportunities to see training in the offices on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and special schools once a month called Fast Start Schools, and access to conference calls that we host for free. Provide our agents to have access to leadership development, have access to case studies on Saturday mornings to understand the financial services industry, access to field trainers to oversee how they're helping clients. So how come some guys are making $100,000 a year, $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year, 7 figures a year, $2 million a year, and some guys with the same opportunity, the same license, same access are broke? One thing. Lack of what? Discipline. But Matt, what about me being an athlete, or me being a celebrity, or me being an influencer? Does that mean you lose discipline once you get there? Let's take a look at 5 public figures who face downfalls due to lack of discipline. These names, I'm sure you'd know of. Number 1, Antonio Brown, NFL player, wide receiver. His inability to maintain professional conduct and disciplined behavior off the field contributed to his NFL career, controversies, and eventual departure. In fact, he lacked personal discipline by the way he exited the game. According to him, that was his way. He took off his pads, took off his helmet, took off his jersey, ran off the field in front of the crowd in the midst of a game, shirtless, and said bye-bye to the fans. I'm out. And we never saw him on the football field ever again. Number 2, Kanye West. Erratic behavior and unfiltered statements in public have significantly impacted his reputation, business partnerships, and financial stability. I'd even say that his lack of personal discipline led him to have babies with the wrong woman. You're having a baby with Kim Kardashian. He was known for one thing. Her breakout to the world was a sex act. Don't ask me how I know, running a faith and finance channel, okay? I've heard the rumors, never seen the tape. I've heard around the rumors. Obviously, I've seen pictures of it because you see it online. Haven't seen the video. Many of you seen the video. Tell the truth, shame the devil. But her act, Kim Kardashian, her breakout act to the world, for her to become a name, was a sexual act, a sex tape, and that's how the world got to know her. And you, due to lack of financial discipline, lack of personal discipline, forget financial discipline, you lack of personal discipline, you think you're gonna marry her, have kids with her, and you think your life is gonna be great, and you're a very successful guy, very successful entertainer, producer, and Kanye West decided to have babies with her. Long story short, they divorced, and she's dating some other dude. He's trolling him. Kanye, it'll make any man, husband, go freaking nuts. That's why, gents, ladies too, you gotta be careful who you have sex with. That's why I chose God's way, because my way of choosing the right spouse was the wrong way until I found Proverbs 31. Look it up. That's your checklist for finding a noble wife in your life. And for the ladies, that's a great checklist to consider modeling if you want a right noble man to follow. By the way, just because it's Proverbs 31, a woman of virtuous character, a woman of virtuous character also attracts a man of virtuous character. Number 3, Ja Morant. Repeated off-court controversies, including incidents involving firearms, have tarnished his rising career. Now, our good friend Tiffany, her brother, just got drafted to the Memphis Grizzlies. Shout out to Jalen Wells, NBA Rookie of the Month, 2nd-round draft pick. Went out to the NBA draft to see that happen live. So honored to be there to witness that moment, to see these young men's lives change, their whole life working, and next thing you know, they get drafted into NBA. Anyway, make a long story short, Jalen gets to play with Ja Morant. I saw them when we played here against the Dallas Mavericks here, and to see the camaraderie, that the discipline of teamwork on the Memphis Grizzlies bench, because these guys are all studs in their own teams, in their own conferences, all Americans, you name it. But now they're trying to earn a spot in the roster to start, to be a bench player, to be a role player, not to be sent down to the D League, but to make the roster. But the amount of discipline they had to praise their team, even though on their bench, shows you a lot about their character, even though they may not get a lot of playing time. But Ja Morant, lack of discipline has led to his tarnishing of his rising career. He's obviously making up for it right now, but he didn't have to do that. Number 4, Johnny Depp. Legal battles and accusation of unprofessional behavior affected his career in Hollywood, including being dropped from major roles. How many guys see the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp trials? Again, got to choose the right spouse, man. Got to choose the right woman. Woo! So many toxic stories there about people choosing the wrong person to marry due to lack of discipline. And by the way, one of the greatest things that has led me to my life today, and what I've seen a lot of millionaires and billionaires who keep their money, who multiply their wealth, pass on generational wealth, is because of discipline and who they marry. It's just not sex. It's honoring God in that marriage, in that union, honoring one another in that process, staying to one another, honoring that commitment under God. What God put together, let no man separate. And they honor that. They honor their vows. Nobody forced them to get married. Nobody forced them to say those vows under God. They chose to do that. Well, when you choose to do that, and that's just not a commitment, that's a covenant type of commitment. That's something they just go, I'm just signing a prenup or whatever. Do your thing. But that's something people say, oh, you know what? I'm going to feel married one day. I'm just going to get divorced the next. I'm going to take them for what they're worth. Boom, boom, boom. That's lack of discipline right there. It's quitting, all right? Instead of working through the tough and even tougher times. Number 5, Elizabeth Holmes, her company Theranos. Her lack of ethical discipline in running her company led to one of the most notorious fraud cases in recent history, and she is in jail, deservedly so. So here's some actionable steps for you to invoke at least financial discipline into your life. Number 1, set clear financial goals with timelines. We have a set of planning here that any goals needs to have. Number 1, your goals got to be specific. Number 2, they got to have a deadline. And number 3, they have to have the price that you're willing to pay or the sacrifice you're willing to commit. Otherwise, it's not a goal. It's just a wish. So if you want a goal in your life, it's got to have those 3 elements. And you define those goals very specifically. Because if you be very specific with those goals, you tend to own it. And you speak it out loud, you own it. And that goal becomes more of a reality to reach. You see the progression, you see the growth in yourself, and it prevents unnecessary spending, prevents impulsive spending, it prevents confusion as it relates to your finances. Number 2, implement a 24-hour rule for purchases. Before making any non-essential purchases, wait 24 hours to attach a realistic time frame to say, I'm going to buy this. Some things such as, I want to upgrade my phone. 24 hours, do I really want to upgrade? By the way, I still have the same phone. I didn't upgrade to the 16. I stick with the 15 because of my 24 hours of upgrade. Was it an impulsive thing just because I want the upgrade? Yeah, Matt, you're a millionaire. Can't you just get the upgrade? I know I can, but it doesn't mean I have to. Just because you could doesn't mean you should. Upgrading my phone is just another one of those things. So what's the point of me upgrading my phone, spending another $1,000 on a new phone? And I saw my friend with a 16, so I looked at it, compared it. There's no real reason for me to upgrade to a 16. Keep the 15. No big deal. For the purpose I'm using it for, it's awesome. It's still way ahead of what I had with the iPhone 11 and 12. So I'm very happy with this phone. Sometimes people just upgrade the phone just to upgrade, just to have the newest, latest thing. And who cares? You're there to impress other people. Who cares about that type of stuff? So process in that 24 hours what you think is valuable, what you think is invaluable. And if you think it's valuable enough, go back the next day and make that purchase. Same thing with buying a watch, a car. Just because you got the credit doesn't mean you should finance or put on your credit card. I remember going to Dick's Sporting Goods. I wanted to get a new fit, Under Armour gear. I looked at it $80 for the joggers, $80, $90 for the top. Said, do I really want this? Do I need this? So what? Waited 24 hours. Guess what? Didn't need it. And moved on. Even things like that, because I know how hard it is to earn $1, how hard it is to scratch and scrape, make phone calls and follow-ups and making sure that your business is profitable. I know the work it takes to earn a living. It's so easy to spend. So easy to spend. So that's why I said that 24-hour rule. Number 3, download financial apps on your phone and put them in a folder. So therefore, your folder is condensed in one application on your home screen. So you're consciously aware of your bank, your credit cards, your credit score, You're consciously aware of what's going on. Your bank account is a reflection of your consciousness. If you're consciously aware of what's going on with your money, you're never going to be surprised. Number 4, automate your tithes, charitable donations, savings, and investments. Treat your savings, your tithes, your charitable contributions as a bill. Well, Matt, I don't have enough for my bills. Exactly. So you need to cut down your expenses. You know, I should cut down my tithes and no. Your tithes, your charitable donations, your savings and investments is a bill. Do you say, let me cut down on my rent this month? No, you pay it no matter what. You say, do I cut down on my car loans this month? No, you pay it like anything. Your student loans? No. So why do you negotiate with your tithes? Why do you negotiate with your charitable donations? Why do you negotiate with the savings and investment? And you're in that mix. God's in the mix. You're in the mix. You're negotiating with your future self. You're negotiating with God with your finances. You're here to serve God, or you're here to just to tip God. But you want to ask God for the biggest things in your life, right? See, so many people know how to ask, but they don't know how to give. And that's due to a lack of financial discipline or discipline, period. Last one, track your spending religiously. Using those apps or even a simple spreadsheet to categorize and track every dollar you spend and understanding where your money goes and help you make intentional choices and avoid lifestyle inflation. Matter of fact, we just got done with the Cigars, Wealth, and Whiskey event last Thursday. And the last 2 meetings I had with my team was to make sure we go over our finance in terms of what we sold in tickets, what we brought in vendors, what we brought in-kind sponsorships, what we brought in terms of donations to the Slavery No More nonprofit we were supporting. In addition to that, what were our expenses? What was the cost for social media advertising? What was the cost for contractors? What was the cost for the banners, the floor displays, all these different things, the swag bags, what's in the swag bags? All those things were accounted for because I want to make sure we track our spending. So therefore, we're not over budgeting in terms of expenses for an event. And it's costing us money. Again, it's because it's easy to spend. I want to make sure we have a profit, so therefore we can invest into the next event. So let me wrap up this episode with a case study of who has actually invoked discipline into life. Well, let me introduce you to Chris and John. They both had goals to become a millionaire through their life insurance and annuity sales business through building also an agency across the country. They both invoked a great disciplined approach called delayed gratification. And they put off their selfish goals until the business goals were accomplished. So they had a 3-4 year plan to do it. Year 1, what do they have to accomplish? Year 1, it's in stages, right? You got to know your next 5 moves. A lot of time people give up on the goal because they don't get it in the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months. No, especially a millionaire goal, that takes time to do it. You know, you can make 6 figures in the next 12 months. And some of you guys, I can make $1 million in 12 months. Knock yourself out. Okay, I'm just sharing with you a case study. But it's a progression. And if it's a progression of discipline, that means it stays. I see a lot of people make $1 million and crash. Why? Because there's no discipline. They hit it in different time frames. One hit it a year ago, one hit it this year, hitting a 7-figure take-home income goal of 7 figures. Name of our channel, 7-Figure Squad. And so they said, okay, this is our time frame. So different time frames, similar disciplined ways of approach over the time frame. So the first year, they want to achieve at least $300,000 in personal commissions by working tirelessly around the clock, building a client base while simultaneously recruiting and developing 10 sales leaders from scratch that can train and grow to take the basic sales that would generate $400,000 in agency revenue. Okay. So they did $300,000. Their team did $400,000, 10 sales leaders. So that was year 1. Year 2 is they mobilized their sales force and their respective organizations to events. Why? Because life-changing moments don't happen on your couch. And they want to avoid the law of familiarity about having the same training, the same trainer for the last year back into their head for the second year. They needed to have a different voice. They needed to have a shift in perspective. They needed to detach themselves from their comfort zone to be put into the uncomfort zone. That's where dreams come true. So they mobilized their sales force to training events twice that year, the second year, and get them to compete with other organizations on a regional and national level. People do that in sports. People do that in martial arts. Why wouldn't you want to do it in business? And that's what our company provides. So we want to make sure they have the environment to compete, to grow. So year 1, they focus on what they needed to get done themselves and the initial team they needed to build. Year 2, they mobilize their sales force and their sales teams too as well. Well, year 3, this is where the magic starts to happen. It's called the compounding effect. So they started scaling the agency from 10 to 12 to 15 to 25 sales leaders, reaching $1 million in combined personal and team revenue to their personal bank account after expenses. That's how it gets done. That's how it gets done. So that was the progression from year 1, 2, and 3. Last year, John Mason did it, became the first millionaire we coached in a PHP agency that became from scratch to millionaire. And then number 2, This year, Chris Hart became the first African-American first-generation millionaire in PHP agency. And he relocated from Compton, California to the Washington, D.C., the DMV area, and based out there in Calverton, Maryland. But by the end of these 3 years, Chris and John not only surpasses their $1 million goal, but also established a thriving agency that continues to grow. John Mason has got his brother, just got married to his fiance. Last year, we went to their wedding, and they've got a thriving agency too as well. They're up and coming. They're growing. You've got Manny and Emily out there, guy who came from the streets, came from nothing, came from the dirt. Him and his girl, Emily, are now rocking it out there with his sister, also Miriam Vargas. You've got up-and-comer, a guy named Michael Gerhardt, Devil Dog, Marine, who never made $10,000 ever before in the history of his life. Next thing you know, in the last couple of months, he's made $10,000 a month because he's learning this industry of the life insurance industry. He's never done that before. Then you got Chris Hart, just left their Christmas party last week, and he's got a bunch of leaders he's rising up in there in the Calverton, Maryland area. We were just at his Christmas party. He puts them all in front and tells the guys, 1, 2, 3, turn your checks around. What did you earn last month? Not for the year, not for the quarter, but for the last month. What did you earn last month? Boom, $15,000 income, $16,000 income, $42,000 income last month. These guys are just crushing it because what did Chris and John both do? They built sales leaders. And those sales leaders are building sales teams that are continue to crush it in business. That's how any business grows. And by the way, a side note at that event at Christmas party, side note to Greg, Brown, and Avery, they just got engaged in front of everybody at this event. Greg surprised Avery in front of her family, kind of came in low key, kind of snuck in. Avery's like, oh my gosh, my family, why is my family here for at this event? It's a training, it's a company event. Why is my family here? And then she realized, oh man, I'm getting proposed to. So congratulations to Greg and Avery. They just got engaged this past weekend. Bottom line, these examples here are completely sprinkled and infused and injected with what? One word, discipline. Their discipline not only brought them individual financial success, but also built the foundation of mentoring others for a future to come that is built on discipline. And when you have discipline running systems and processes, your future to some extent is pretty predictable because the business world says, listen, you're disciplined. We got, yeah. The marketplace responds, yeah, that guy's disciplined. Also, the marketplace does respond. Yeah, that person's not disciplined. We're going to find them doing something else or with some other company next time around, and they're going to say the same thing over there. Just because you go from company to company doesn't mean you're more disciplined along the way. It just shows that you're just buying into your lack of discipline. People go from industry to industry, company to company, church to church, relationship to relationship without showing up what most important thing is, what their personal discipline, because you can't give what you ain't got. So if you're not disciplined, why do you expect other people to be more disciplined than you? Same thing too. If you're not taking care of yourself and people are asking for things, you're trying to give from an empty cup, you don't have much to give. So you got to be disciplined in taking care of you first. If you want to know more about Chris and John and their journey to 7 figures, please consider watching this video right here. As I wrap up, many of you right now are either about to start your journey in your financial journey, your millionaire journey, or some of you guys are already on your millionaire journey. Just know that your example of discipline, commitment to your approach, good times or in bad times, you are still disciplined. I promise you, not only do you inspire yourself to get fired up every day to go to work because you see now results coming from your discipline, but you're going to equip others and inspire others to hit their own goals too as well. Your commitment to your discipline, your commitment to your goals and dreams in your life is going to be a bigger blessing to the people around your life. So I encourage you, please add that huge sprinkle and injection of discipline into your finances and watch. You'll be part of the 7-figure squad in no time. And if you are already part of the 7-figure squad, you'll be part of the 8-figure squad, and 9-figure squad, and you'll be well on your way to $100 million, $250 million, $500 billion because of one thing, and that's discipline. And you stay there. It's one thing to get there. It's another thing to stay there. That being said, please put your biggest takeaway here on this video. Please put it in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit subscribe and hit like and share this content and follow us for more content like this when it pertains to faith and finance, sales leadership, and understanding the world of business. With that being said, God bless you guys. Till we meet again. Continue to live smart, continue to love smart, and be money smart today.